Welcome to You Don't Know Ball. Today, we're going to be going over all the offseason moves for every single team so far. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us know your favorite offseason move, whether that's a signing your team made, a signing, a trade your team made, a signing you don't like, anything that struck you as crazy this offseason. Let us know. Leave a like. We're growing this channel every day. Thanks to you guys. We're going to go division by division, working our way from the East all the way to the West. So, Dobbs, start us off here. How are you feeling about the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East?
So what I'm thinking is, bro, for the Bills, I'm liking them right grading out at a B, right? We got Mitch Trubisky back in the building on a cheap deal. He showed he played well in Buffalo's offense. Adding Mac Hollins, Curtis Samuel to the receiving corps. Again, nothing crazy, but good depth, guys that have good hands. And I think Curtis Samuel is a sneaky addition to this offense. You can definitely use him in a few different ways, as we know. Getting some offensive line depth with we get David Edwards, and then you had to resign the Deion Dawkins extension was crucial, got that done. Love bringing Epinesa back. Daquan Jones, rock solid. Getting linebacker depth with Nicholas Morrow. Cam Lewis, cornerback depth. And then Taylor Rapp coming in, re-signing on that to now be, again, the starting safety because we know Jordan Poyer out the building. So if you're the Bills, you feel pretty happy about this. Again, could have maybe made a few more moves to be competitive, more competitive in that crazy AFC. But, the Bills are already a competitive team, and they definitely made some good moves.
So I like bringing back Mitch as well. I think he compares really well to the way Josh Allen plays. And I don't necessarily mind letting Gabe Davis walk. I have not been super big on Gabe Davis. I think Curtis Samuel can definitely play that role. Obviously, re-signing Deion Dawkins, AJ Epinesa, like you said, kind of solidifying that line. And obviously losing Trey White and Poyer are big losses, right? And they're going to have to figure that out. But re-signing Taylor Rapp just to kind of solidify that secondary of known faces around the facility is a good thing. Morrow has made his way around the league, but he's not a horrible linebacker. He's someone that can play for you. So we came to a judgment that the Buffalo Bills came out at a B minus for their offseason so far. I still think there's some moves to be made. Obviously, we saw the purge happen where they cut all these guys to get under the cap floor. And, typical Stephon Diggs causing drama on Twitter today. We don't know what's going to happen with him. So, Dobbs,
It's literally egregious, bro. It's literally to the point, like, I'm so tired of it. I'm not a Bills fan, bro. Like, Bills fans, can y'all sound off in the comments, please?
if you had to guess, do you think Stephon Diggs is back in Buffalo next year, or do you think he's traded?
Bro, like I said before this, if that tweet was, if we're not all just misjudging, he's not tweeting lyrics or something, bro, I kid you not. If I was making the decisions, I would not be dealing with it anymore. I'm just going to leave it at that. Like, it's literally to the point where it's like, you actually are causing more trouble than it's worth type shit. You know what I mean? It's like,
I think the thing with the NFL is it works a little bit slower than other leagues like the NBA, where it's like, okay, you hear trade rumors one year, it'll come and die pretty quick. You hear trade rumors the next year, it's like, oh, okay, maybe it's going to happen. I feel like it's been enough time where heard these trade rumors where something could probably actually happen this year. And it would probably be before the season or at the trade deadline.
no, for sure. And I'm sure if you're Josh Allen and the Bills, you've got to be saying to yourself, like, how many times are we going to deal with the same problem before we diagnose ourselves as insane? The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I mean, I don't know. If you expect Stefan to change, maybe you're the one that's crazy.
Okay, B minus for the Buffalo Bills. Now we have the Miami Dolphins, who we gave a grade of a B to. So, Dobbs, let me know why you felt this was a strong B for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, no, and I think, and again, you'd agree with this as well. From more than anything, the Dolphins added a lot of pieces that are just going to help bolster this team, right? Like guys like a Shaq Barrett, a Jordan Brooks, a Jordan Poyer. Great, those are great. You're getting great starting signings. And then we got great depth here. Well, also, how could I forget Jonnu Smith starting, probably new starting tight end,
Kendall
right?
Fuller.
Yeah, like you got yourself a lot of guys here, and then besides that, like you're saying, a lot of just good depth, right? Robert Jones, Aaron Brewer, Neville Gallimore, Jonathan Harris. There's more. I mean, Nick Needham. Like you're getting on that resign, you got a lot of good depth in this class, And also re-signing Jake Bailey, the punter. Like that's also a W for
I
the
know Miami
Dolphins.
Dolphins fans were upset about Bailey. I guess they
Interesting.
don't like him. Yeah. I don't
Interesting.
think he's
But if
that
I'm
good,
not
but
mistaken, I think his average last year was actually pretty high. But hell, maybe I got to crunch more Miami Dolphins
yeah,
special teams
more
tape, guys. I'm
special
sorry.
teams tape. Yeah. Um, no, I mean, I really, really like the Jonnu Smith signing, honestly. And I think Aaron Brewer to kind of fill in for Connor Williams because of that ACL tear is going to be big for them, kind of solidify that interior. My favorite move is probably the Shaq Barrett move. I really, really like Shaq Barrett. I think he can be a good pass rusher for the Miami Dolphins. So we are finishing out with a grade of a B for them. Moving on to the New England Patriots. We gave them a C plus. I think bringing back Jacoby Brissett was definitely a big deal for them. If they draft a rookie and they don't feel like he's ready, they can definitely play Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is not a scrub. He can start for you and be that guy. I don't necessarily care for the Antonio Gibson signing. I don't think it's egregious. I think it's an okay signing. I'm not a big fan of Antonio Gibson. Kendrick Bourne, I would have rather paid Curtis Samuel the same amount of money if Samuel was open to it, or maybe even a little bit more. They struck out with the Ridley deal. Apparently, they're offering him 20 mil instead of the 23 that the Titans offered. And I don't really like the 3 year, $27 million extension or re-sign for Hunter Henry. Yeah, I don't get it. Um, my favorite move was kind of you know, the team friendly deal of Josh Uche and then Mike Owenahu. That re-sign, you solidify a tackle spot. So overall, not horrible. I don't necessarily love their moves though.
Yeah, no, I'll say I also to add one of to like the signings that I like, I also do like the I'm Fernie Jennings signing. But like minus that. Oh, and Kyle Duggar also with that transition tag. But minus that, yeah, we're thinking the same thing, bro. Like you're looking at the Patriots and you're kind of hitting that what's the direction question. And again, like we are saying, the direction is probably just sitting the rookie behind. Likely, I envision the scenario being Jacoby Brissett's going to be the bridge whoever they draft. But regardless, this team is still so heavily lacking in so many areas. And I don't know, like they spent a fair amount of money. The Patriots, you just have to ask yourself, like, what's the direction?
Yeah, I think also like with the higher up, it is just kind of weird. Like you don't really know like are you trying to win one while Kraft is still there? Or like is that the motivation? Are they trying to compete a little bit earlier than they probably should? I don't necessarily love that their GM structure. I don't necessarily think Jared Mayo was the best head coach hire for them. Um, I think when Bill left, the Patriot way, what it was, should have kind of went with him. I think they should have gone for a total rebrand.
No, that's an interesting point too, bro. It's going to be very interesting to see how this Patriots, trying to stay kind of in that same mold with the whole new structure in the building. It's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds.
C plus for the New England Patriots. Now we have the New York Jets, the last team in the AFC East, and we have them with a B. I think the reason we had them with a B, or at least my reasoning, is Tyrod Taylor is a drastic step up from whoever they had backing up last year. They should have called Joe Flacco. That was a horrible mistake. They've basically kind of recrafted their line. The trade for Morgan Moses, I think, was good. Signing John Simpson, I think, was good. Javon Kinlaw was good. Greg Sörlein's a good kicker. So they didn't do a ton, but enough to warrant a B where that O line doesn't really scare me enough, where they really just kind of need the left tackle because you know, they have Simpson at guard, they have AVT at guard, they have Tipman at center, and then they have Moses at right tackle. So Olu Fashanu coming at pick 10.
That's where that's why I'm saying, bro. If I know in a lot of my recent mocks, I'm saying that I can see very much the Jets going Olu because you want that pass protecting ceiling is super high. You know you're getting with that with Olu. Olu, he just might be a Jet the way things are trending.
I think they just need that left tackle. Any other thoughts on the Jets before we move into the NFC East?
No, you completely recited everything I was gonna say. Like just they hit on the trenches they needed to hit on.
All right, moving into the NFC East. Let's go Dallas Cowboys. We have them at a D plus. Dobbs, what are your feelings on this?
And this was and I think you agree with me on this one, bro. My logic on the Cowboys, I think a lot of people would agree, even Cowboys fans in this scenario. Like it is that's hurting the Cowboys so much about this year's free agency, where again, they don't normally, right? They're not known to make a ton of moves early, and that's just kind of been like their thing under Jerry. But this year is a little bit different because everybody in your division got a lot, or not, you can maybe not, I can't say everybody got a lot better. What I'll say is this: everybody tried to get a lot better, everybody's spending money, everybody's making moves. And not even just in the division, in the NFC, really kind of just in general, this whole free agency cycle. And meanwhile, you kind of just sat around, right? And like we were saying, going further in the direction of what you're already going down, but is the direction which you're already going down what's going to bring you guys the Lombardi? Like, it's just maybe really all you can say is that there just hasn't been enough action for a team that has been so stagnant at the end of the season for as long as they've been. It's been the same story for the Cowboys for so long. If you're not doing anything to change the story, well, eventually that's when we're going to start asking questions.
Well, also, Jerry Jones said he wanted to go all in. And if going all in means basically re-signing your guys, they let Van Der Esch go, they let Gallup go. They didn't get anything for him. Not saying you would have gotten much if they tried to trade him. I know they tried to trade Gallup. They probably weren't getting any bites. I just, I mean, it's the same old Cowboys. We see it year in, year out. They don't do shit ever. They get hyped up. Oh, it's the Cowboys year, but it's never their year. So, you
Cowboys
know,
fans maybe just need to. Cowboys fans are the reason they got this grade.
I mean, also with Dan Quinn leaving, do you trust their defense to be nearly as good next year?
So, well, again, that's the biggest thing too. Like
And they
it's a
lost
whole new
Tyron
identity.
Smith and Tyler Biadasz. They have to rebuild the
Ex-
line.
exactly, bro. No, and that's there's so many things. Like it's the lack of what's the word I'm going for here? The lack of urgency given how like just you're in a very very strong division. Like and you know that. I just the lack of just going in the season that all in this is it's a lie. Jerry Jones capped to the fan base like
All right. D plus for the Cowboys. Just a interesting off season for them, especially because the Dak extension is coming up again.
ooey.
Let's go to the New York Giants, who we gave a C plus to. Um, I like the Drew Lock signing a lot. I think, with the way Dable plays, I think Drew Lock is a good backup for Daniel Jones. And a report came out that John Schneider basically said what sold Daniel Jones or what sold Drew Lock is the fact that he would get to compete for a starter. But then another report came out saying that Drew Lock knew that he wouldn't be the starter. I am buying more of the fact that he left for a competition, not just to be the backup. And, I don't think this takes them out of the running for JJ at 6 if he's there. But I do think the Vikings are going to be trading up. I think that's why they made those trades, and we'll talk about that later. But I like the addition of John Runnan a lot. I don't mind Isaiah McKenzie. I'm not a fan of Devin Singletary at all. He really didn't do anything until he was in that Texan system. And with Brian Burns, objectively, I don't have an issue with Brian Burns. I don't think he's a tier 1 edge, and they paid him like a tier 1 edge. And you're going to have money tied up in Thibodeau. You have money tied up in Dexter Lawrence. And I mean, the issue with this team has been the offense. So if you go quarterback at 6, who is your quarterback throwing to? He's objectively behind a better O line. But it's like, I don't really understand the Giants front office, basically.
Well, yeah, also because to the point you were making about Brandon Burns not necessarily being that one, like that tier 1 edge, he's more of a tier 2 edge guy. I'll say this. I think he could perform to tier 1 standards on this D line with how bolstered it's going to be. But that's like we're saying. Like, you can't just have the D line producing and have nothing else stacked up. The Giants are in one of the weirdest teams in the league now. They're kind of like the NFC version of the Raiders now. Are they just the shaking
Interesting.
hands meme?
They might be the shaking hands meme. I think they
Because
might be
if
the shaking hands meme.
And what I wanted to say too about this, bro, and then we'll move on from the Giants is what I think I want Giants fans to consider. This is where it gets a little bit even crazier. Like you were saying, like I'm also with you 1,000%. Like I think the Giants still very likely could go QB at 6. And here's the thing: what if they're looking at it in terms of like, look, bro, like we know it's like this is Daniel Jones' last shot, right? It's like, what if Daniel
Yeah.
Jones out the building? I want Drew Lock in this building after he's gone. Like, hold on a minute. Daniel Jones might be out quicker than even people think at this point. Like, you know what I mean here? Like,
It's going to
because
be one of those things where if Daniel Jones doesn't perform, the fans are going to ask for Drew Lock. And not that even Drew Lock is that good. It's just like, how much different are they as quarterbacks? I mean, Daniel Jones, better, I guess, but I don't know.
but you could say still, even at this point of their career, like Drew Lock, the ceiling you could get out of him, arguably still higher. Like, it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes.
I like his arm better. Not accuracy wise, but
Oh, for
um,
sure. In terms of velocity, though.
Giants, we have C plus. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, who we have an A. Dobbs, give me your thoughts on this, especially the Saquon Barkley deal.
It's just, bro, there's no two ways around it, right? Like Howie Roseman just doesn't fuck around. Like, shouts to Howie Roseman, man. There was some questioning. We questioned you a couple times on the show, like 4 years ago, when we were still getting acclimated to the Howie ways, man. Not anymore. I get it. I get the Howie ways. I see how it has to go in Philadelphia. You got to say bye to some guys every year to say, hello to the new ones and the new ones that are going to be around producing more for even cheaper. This year, a little bit different, though, because they actually just went all in on guys. But that was kind of the point I'm saying, too, about where we were talking about the Cowboys. Like, you're watching all these teams around you get so much better. The Eagles said, oh, hell no, bro. We want to get back to the Lombardi. Like, no. We were not just happy just getting there and then losing it. We want to get right back. I mean, so many moves I could talk about. I won't get into all of them. But, like, bringing CJ Gardner-Johnson back, like, huge W. Devin White, huge W. Julian Akwara on a team-friendly deal. I love it. Huge W. Zach Bond, W. Bryce Huff, W. Brandon Graham, W. Like, bro, Landon Dickerson. Are you shitting? Like, bro, I didn't even get to Saquon yet. Like, it's like the Eagles and Kenny Pickett's the backup. Like, I don't mind this shit at all, bro. Like, Howie Roseman said, fuck this. I'm not playing around with anybody.
No, I mean, I think even the Kenny Pickett trade was a good trade. I mean, they got a high quality backup for nothing. And like you, I don't know, depending on how you feel about Kenny Pickett, I think if he were to come into that offense, he's working with a lot better situation than what he had in Pittsburgh. And he's still a very young QB. Like QB factory is back in Philadelphia. And Devontae Parker, even as a wide receiver 3 or 4, I don't think is a bad thing. Bryce Huff is a great addition, and I really like the CJ Gardner-Johnson signing. All right, so we had an A for the Eagles. Moving into our last team of the NFC East, we have the Washington Commanders, who we have as a C plus. So new GM, new head coach, and I understand they're probably trying to raise the floor of the situation that the rookie is walking into. But I don't love really many of the signings. I like the Bobby Wagner signing because I think it sets a tone and it's a leadership, it's a culture thing. And I really like the Frankie Louvu signing. Honestly, don't know why the Panthers let him walk for that price. Um, but Farrell, okay, yeah, 1 year, 3.75 million. Dorrance Armstrong, I don't really like. Biadasz, I get it, but you cut Nick Gates. Not to say that Nick Gates is better, but you have a lot of cap space. Why would you not just kind of figure that out? I don't know what the reason for cutting him was. Allegretti, okay. Ertz, I guess. Eckler on a cheap deal works. It's just none of the signings are kind of just like, oh man, this was great. It was like they just spent a bunch of money on a ton of mid players.
The only one I really like is Jeremy Chin, and that's
Yeah,
just based
that
off
was a
of the
good deal.
value on the contract. But like, if they give Jeremy Chin a bag, I'd be say, right, like, what are they doing? And it's the right, like the Commanders. I'm not even gonna go on a rant, but they're in that same boat as all these other teams we've been talking about, bro. When you look at this list of signings, and to your point, you were saying before we started recording, like they just spent a lot of money. And for what direction? Like Bobby Wagner's 33. It's like, yeah, we got to someone to set the tone for how long? Like, you know what I mean? It's like I don't. It's just what's the direction, right? That's where the question has to be asked, and it's like you cannot look at this list and give me a stable answer. That's the problem.
So we have the Washington Commanders with a C plus. Moving into the AFC North, we have the Baltimore Ravens, who we have with a B. Dobbs, how are you feeling about Derrick Henry in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson?
Well, yeah, so we know, bro, no lie. Like, I mean, Derrick Henry definitely raised the ceiling of this grade a lot. And I think for me, really, there's only 2 signings that kind of went into my grade. Like, you bring home Derrick Henry, You bring home Justin Adematabike and that re-sign, like, man, that's already a great free agency class in of its own. Like, Justin Adematabike, top three most underrated players in the whole league, absolute game wrecker officially now. And then you get Derrick Henry, right? All that we're worried about with King Henry is just stay healthy down there. I don't want to look back on this as one of those, man, what could have beens, you know? Because that's the vibe you get initially when you look at it. It's kind of like, is he going to be able to stay healthy? He's going to be able to still stay at his peak. But if he can, like, man, this is going to be a fun duo for a long time, as long as King Henry can stay healthy for. But then also, like, minus those moves, definitely nothing needle moving. I guess I like the Brent Urban resign, but like nothing crazy. And like, not, but I guess, like we were saying, if you're the Ravens, you didn't really have to do much. And they kind of knew that. So,
So here's my thing. I think a B is a great grade for them because I think with bringing in Derrick Henry and you already have the, rushing ability of Lamar, and we saw what Keaton Mitchell can be. They have such a great thunder and lightning punch, probably the most like, I don't know how to say it. Like, if you were to put thunder and lightning to a player, it would probably be those two players. Like, what represents it most? It's probably this backfield. I love the Matabike signing. My question is, what do you do with the receiver room? I feel like OBJ is not coming back, and I feel like he kind of at least added like a little bit of veteranness, if that's a word, to the wide receiver room. And you have Zay Flowers, you have Nelson Aguilar, and you have Mark Andrews. But like, aren't we back to the same position that we've always been in? It's like, where is Lamar getting help, in the
well,
wide receiver room? And
and
yeah,
what I was going to say too, bro, I just want to include this because this is something where I think nobody ever even talks about this, and I never even talk about it. It's like, but this is really where things start to get scary now at the receiver room. Like before, it was fine because Mark Andrews used to be out there like every game, and we were not worried about the Mark Andrews health like we are now. And it's like, well, at the least Mark Andrews will bail out Lamar. But now it's like, yeah, how sure are we Mark Andrews is going to be out there all season? It's definitely not like it was like before. So all of a sudden, yeah, that receiving room is very short. Like.
I like the Matabike signing. I think I was surprised they extended him. Honestly, they have typically just kind of let those guys walk because they've been so good at drafting and filling those needs. But I think with the way he played last year, they're like, we can't let this guy go. So yeah, no, we had a B for the Baltimore Ravens. Moving into the Cincinnati Bengals, we have as a B plus. I really liked the Zach Moss signing and then the trading of Joe Mixon. I think if you're going to release a player and you can get even a seventh rounder, I think it's worth it because you're basically getting just another swing at a player, regardless of the round and how likely they are to be a productive member of your team. I still think it is a good signing. I like the Sheldon Rankin signing. I don't know if he's going to be that replacement for a DJ Reader, like an exact replacement. I think I would rather have Reader, but I think the biggest thing is the Geno Stone and Von Bell signings. They had a tough time in the safety department last year, and they solved the issue. I'll let you kind of talk about it a little bit more, but just to finish it off, Mike Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, and Drew Sample. They got a type for tight ends. So very interesting to see what they do there. Zach Moss is explosive, but yeah, Dobbs, how you feeling?
Well, yeah, so number one, I think the only question we have to ask is when we see the tight ends, taken here, is the Brock Bowers dream dead over here in Cincinnati?
I don't know. Any tight end that plays in Cincinnati ends up getting paid typically. So I just think Brock Bowers would be such. But could you imagine Brian Thomas Jr. in this offense?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like at this point, after this class, they're probably going to prioritize elsewhere. And it was like before, it was like the tight end was the only way to go. And now it's like they definitely could go a lot of different directions. Yeah, I just want to echo that sentiment you were saying about the safeties too. Bro, bringing back Von Bell in the same year, you also land Geno Stone. Like, Geno Stone is in that exact same category I was just talking about with Matabike. Like, two of the most critically underrated players in the entire sport. Like, a lot of people probably don't even know who Geno Stone is. If you don't, wake up. You need to learn Geno Stone is officially one of the best safeties in the league. I'm tired of the disrespect. And the Bengals got him in free agency, man. Like just an absolute W.
Bengals B plus. Moving on to the Cleveland Browns, who we have as an A. So I think the reason we have them as an A is you have a reliable starter as a backup now in Jameis Winston. I'm a big Jameis Winston guy. I think, you know, he can be that guy for a team. I think if he's given another chance, I know he had the 30 for 30 season, but he also threw 5,000 yards. Like, not a lot of quarterbacks have thrown 5,000 yards. Um, they brought in Devin Bush, they brought in Jordan Hicks, they re-signed Zadarius Smith. I don't love Jerry Jeudy, but for a fifth and a sixth, it's worth to take a shot on and put him next to Amari Cooper. I don't think they've really hit on their wide receivers in the draft. So getting a number two to play behind Amari Cooper, nice. And the reason we gave them an A is just because they just got stuck with really bad injuries last year. And I think if they would have been healthy all year, or at least most of the year with most of their players, they would have been one of the top maybe six teams in the league. Like, they balled out with a four-string quarterback in Joe Flacco. Now, is Joe Flacco a four-string quarterback? No. But if you want to count, that's what he was. And the Browns just kind of improved a little where they needed. Maybe they're not done at wide receiver.
No, they definitely improved in a lot of spots, and you got to give a shout out to the Browns. Also, this is just random, but I have to include it because it's hilarious. Bro, I'm looking at the signings, and I don't know how I missed the first time, where it says here they listed Adam Troutman on the Browns. And I'm like, I know for sure Adam Troutman ain't never been on the Browns. And it says re-signed. And I'm like, hold on, let me do some research. Because I'm like, I thought I saw he re-signed to the Broncos. They have him listed as the Browns here for some reason. I don't know what the NFL.com is
Interesting.
doing. I'm with you 1,000%. Like, bro, they did everything they had to do. Love the Jerry Jeudy move, where normally I wouldn't, but for a fifth and a sixth, and then you put him with Deshaun, like, I feel like there's kind of maybe a little bit of a room for a huge growth right there. You love getting to Darius back, Shelby Harris, Maurice Hurst, like keeping that interior just rocking. And I think I like them Jordan Hicks, I also like as an addition. Devin Bush, like I said, too, he could have definitely a chance to like really revitalize his career here. I like a lot of their signings for sure.
All right, we had an A for the Cleveland Browns. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have a C minus. What an interesting offseason, Dobbs. How are you feeling about the Russell Wilson signing and the Kenny Pickett trade?
Well, I think this is because we didn't really talk much about this, but I think that we're thinking very much alike on this. It's like you brought Russ in the building, and that's cool. That's kind of exciting, but it's not the same Russ it used to be. And it's like, how much does this current version of Russ move the needle over everything else before? And it's like probably a fair amount. But regardless, were the Steelers already built to like go win the Lombardi? No. And it's like they didn't really make that many moves at all. The only really relevant ones was Patrick Queen, and then they got fleeced for Dante Jackson, depending on how you want to look at it. Like, I don't know, bro. I think, or not, I'm not fleeced for Dante Jackson, but fleeced where they got Dante Jackson. And then I do like the Deshaun Elliott move. I will give credit where it's due, but like, it's just not enough. It's not enough when you had to do a lot, you know?
Yeah, I guess I have a lot of interesting things on the Steelers. So I think if you're going to bring Russ in on a 1 year deal, it's kind of to allow Kenny to sit and develop because he just hasn't been like that guy from a maturity standpoint. He hasn't been that guy on the field standpoint. And I understand he wasn't handling the news well that you signed Russ, but I mean, he was your first round pick in 2022. He's only been on the team 2 years, and to deal him to Philly for almost nothing, like a pick swap. My thing is, who gives a fuck if he's not handling it well? Put him on the bench. Put him on the bench as your first round pick. Like, they don't have another quarterback on the roster. Mason Rudolph is with the Titans now. Now, I think this opens up another trade destination for Justin Fields. I think it was pretty
Yup.
barren, but I think Justin Fields is probably going to end up a Steeler after this has happened. I guess my thing though is, bro, like okay, so we saw Kenny Pickett attitude issues. Deontay Johnson, attitude issues. Claypool, attitude issues. I know the whole thing is about Steelers being a good team, but when do we need to start questioning maybe the culture of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yo, hold on a
Because
minute,
I,
bro.
I just feel like this is never ever talked about, but there's constantly attitude issues. Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. Like, what is fueling these
Did we say
issues?
George Pickens?
George Pickens, even. Like, what is fueling these issues in the Steelers locker room?
No, no. Jokes aside, bro. What is going on over there, dude? Like, no, no, no. Something's in the water in Pittsburgh, bro. We're cooking some here.
I also didn't love the Patrick Queen deal. I just think like he excelled under Roquan Smith, and there's just not another linebacker like Roquan there.
I definitely feel you on that, though. I definitely do understand where you're coming from on that one.
So we had the Pittsburgh Steelers with a C minus. Now we're moving into the NFC North. we have the Chicago Bears with a B plus. Dobbs, tell me how you're feeling. I'm a Bears fan, so I'm gonna let you go. Try to be a little bit more unbiased than me.
No, you know those. I still love mostly what you guys did this offseason. I'll start with the stuff that I wasn't the hugest fan of, and then it's like we'll move on past that, right? But it's like regardless, the stuff that isn't like fantastic is nothing like it's nothing like scary or anything. I think maybe I feel like you guys could have gone a different direction than Kevin Byard for similar money for the safety. But at the same time, I'll say this. If Kevin Byard can turn it around and turn back into the old Kevin Byard, well, all of a sudden this was the one of the best signings of the whole offseason. So it's just kind of to be determined, right? And then I'm not a huge fan of the Gerald Everett signing. I don't know how you guys feel about that one. I don't really it's not the worst deal ever. I just don't know if I don't know. Maybe the cap could have been used better elsewhere. Um the O line signings were nothing like world beating, but it's depth. It's depth, like you guys have been saying, and it's true. It's just you got to have depth, and you're bringing in a guy like Caleb. I do like the DeAndre Swift deal actually more than a lot of people did. Like I think he can come in there and actually be like very productive for you guys. That's also just because I was a D Swift homer when he's coming out that draft, but I still do think he has tons of upside. And then obviously like the Keenan Allen, huge W if he can just stay healthy. Like and like we were saying too, Jalen Johnson, like you had to get him back, and you guys did. Like all in all, the Bears like offseason was definitely a W, way more than it was an L. Like they're starting to get to a territory where like all of a sudden the Bears could be like really competitive soon.
I think here's my thing. I like the DeAndre Swift signing because we saw that that Khalil Herbert operated much better as a number two back when Monty was there. When he is forced to be the number one guy, I don't think he can be that guy. The Keenan Allen deal, you are giving Caleb Williams. Yes, it's going to be Caleb Williams. Two number one receivers, plus probably a receiver that you take in the draft. I like Coleman Shelton because we haven't had a lot of reliability up front between Lucas Patrick, Cody Whitehair, Tevin Jenkins, Nate Davis. Shelton is an average center who started all 17 games for the Rams. So at least you know you're getting a veteran center to pair with your rookie quarterback who can be reliable. The reason I like the Everett deal, okay, Shane Waldron, out of all OCs in the league, used 13 personnel the most. He's a very good complement to Cole Kmet. So I think you got him on a good deal. Extend Jalen Johnson, Jonathan Owens to replace Elijah Hicks as depth at safety. We desperately needed it. Last thing I'll say about the Kevin Byard thing, if you look at Eddie Jackson's tackling grade compared to Kevin Byard has been one of the best tacklers as a safety in the league. And and you add a veteran presence for less than what you were paying Eddie Jackson. So I think for the money that you paid, it is a great replacement. And another thing the Bears are really big on is tackling and availability. Kevin Byard has never missed a practice for injury in his whole NFL career, which is insane.
It is no Kevin like and if he and like I'm saying, bro, if he can get back to that prime Kevin Byard, man, the Bears defense is actually all of a sudden like electric.
So we had the Chicago Bears with a B plus. Now moving on to the Detroit Lions, who we have an A minus. I think they had a great offseason. I think that so far, I mean, re-signing Graham Glasnow, you're going to have to eventually find a replacement at center. I think that's something they can address in the draft. They're going to have to, have another guard moved in. Jonah Jackson went to the Rams. You sign Marcus Davenport, you sign DJ Reader, you trade for Carlton Davis, you re-sign Emmanuel Mosley. You signed to your deal with Amik Robertson. I think the Detroit Lions are going to address their O line and their secondary pretty heavy in the draft. And I love the moves they made. I don't know how you feel, Dobbs, but I just don't think they're that far away from being that Super Bowl team. I mean, they were really close to beating the
That's
49ers.
I was gonna say, dude, they don't choke against the Niners last year. They slide in that bowl. There ain't no telling what's gonna happen.
They
Like
already beat
that,
the
like
Chiefs in the first game.
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no telling, bro. Could have been last year. Like, they are already such a well-built team. And that's the thing is they didn't have to do a lot. And then you add DJ Reader to that fucking trenches up front. You got me just cheesing, man. Like because y'all know I got love for the Lions on the low, like lovable. I can't even call them lovable losers anymore because they're getting out of that territory. You love to see it. You love to see it. But you know what I mean. The history's been so bleak. I do enjoy seeing the Lions build up here. I think the Meek Robertson deal too, like a sleeper. I think great depth. Carlton Davis, he swore he's going to come and be a lockdown here. All of a sudden, that's a huge upgrade for the cornerback room. Like, if you're the
I mean,
Lions, man,
imagine if they trade up for like a Terrion Arnold or like a Cooper DeJean or even a Quinyon Mitchell.
I think
Like,
I would like Terrion the most on the
I
Lions,
agree.
just in the just terms of like situation, like scheme. But all three of them. Like, it would just be such a W.
A minus for the Lions. For the Green Bay Packers, we have a B minus. So here's the thing. I love the signing of Xavier McKinney. They still have another safety position they need to real kind of address. They need to address like maybe CB 2, 3 still. Um, they re-signed, they're expected to re-sign AJ Dillon as depth for Josh Jacobs. But I like the Josh Jacobs signing. It's just a lot of money for non-premium position with running back and free safety. I don't really know how much the Packers need to do. They're a really, really young team. I worry a little bit about the pass catching ability from the running back room now that Aaron Jones is going to be missed a little bit.
No, absolutely. If anything, it looks like the Packers are just going all the way down the power run.
Yeah,
They said forget the zone run. We're powering it all game. I mean, yeah. Jokes aside, though, I think for me, the only thing that really bolstered the Packers class from free agency was just the Xavier McKinney deal is an absolute W. Like if there was one team out of this year that desperately needed Xavier McKinney, Lord knows it was the Packers. They were the ones to go get him. They paid a premium for it, but they knew they needed him, one of the most, again, underrated players in the entire league. And again, it was also kind of like we knew the Packers were going to have to spend a lot of money. I don't think that I love, though, I'm going to be honest, like the Josh Jacobs deal, it's kind of
I
what
don't
pushes it
love it.
down for me because it's just paying running backs is just scary nowadays. But I do like Josh Jacobs on the Packers, just not for that money.
I agree. So we had a B minus for the Green Bay Packers. Minnesota Vikings, we had an A minus. So Sam Darnold, I really like it as a bridge quarterback. He is obviously going into one of the best situations that you can. For 10 million, why not take a chance on this guy? Also, whoever they draft as a rookie is going to be thrown into Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and Aaron Jones. I honestly love the Aaron Jones signing. I think this is kind of what the Vikings were missing last year. Their run game was kind of abysmal. Um, you know, Brandon Powell re-signed. I love the Grenard signing. I like the Van Ginkel signing. I like the Cashman signing. I like the Tillery signing. Literally everything they did on defense, I really like. They also traded, in my opinion, fleeced the Texans a little bit. I don't know how you move up 19 spots, swap a first and a second this year, and then just give up a second next year. Like, I don't know, man. That just seems like kind of a fleece to me.
Yeah, bro, people have been on our ass when we do the mock drafts talking about that's not enough value. Well, hold on. Clearly, we might have been given not enough value in these trades because
Bro, I think it gives the Minnesota Vikings more than enough ammunition to move up to 3, 4, or 5.
well,
Give them both
dude,
those
JJ
picks.
McCarthy is a Viking, bro. I'm saying it early. I'm gonna keep
He
saying it.
is
Like
him or
Vikings
May.
fans get used to it. Yeah, him or May, like Vikings fans, it's one of them. And you already said it, but like I just got to repeat it, bro. Getting Grenard and then Van Ginkel to be your two edges the same year, in this blitz heavy, just right, this just blitz heavy crazy defense. I think, I'm in love with it. Like, Flores is about to be cooking.
I just think they really need to address their secondary pretty heavily. I don't know. They re-signed Harrison Smith, I believe, or restructured him. Um, I just don't love their cornerback room.
Yeah, they definitely have work to do. I think Mekhi Blackman, though, is going to make a big jump this year. But then outside of that, you got two other corners you got to take care of. You're going to have to figure that out. I would expect him to go DB heavy, just like you're saying.
A minus for the Minnesota Vikings. Moving into the AFC South, we have the Houston Texans with an A plus. They killed it. I think, honestly, thinking about the trade, maybe an A now because of the fleecing. And you can call it a fleecing, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
But
wait, do we bump him down to an A because they got
uh,
fleeced?
yeah, I think we're gonna do an A. Let's do an A because that trade was a little weird. But an A is still an A. And tell me how you're feeling about their offseason so far. I think there's what, Super Bowl contenders this year?
Oh yeah, dude. Well, it's like I'm stealing the words out of a lot of people's mouths, but it's not like I want it to be this way. I'm just thinking the same way as everyone else. Dude, they are on the trajectory to be this year's Bengals. Like, and what do I mean by this year's
Ooh,
Bengals?
that's a good point.
Right, we're talking about the 2021 Bengals, but yeah, so it's like, but they are on that trajectory, 21 and 2022. Like they are on that trajectory to be that same team potentially, and maybe even go all the way instead of falling short. I mean, like this team, let's just review. I mean, getting Jeff Okuda, if he can come in here and snap, fantastic value. Desmond King, great depth. Lonnie Johnson, great depth. Mike Ford, great depth. Aziz Al-Shire, just getting him back with his guy D'Amico Ryans, fantastic W. Daniil Hunter, coming off the most sacks he's had in his whole career, terrifying. Danico Autry, a very slept-on player, another player to play on that edge, depth, just fantastic depth. Getting that Charlie Heck depth back on the O line. Dalton Schultz on the re-sign, and then you get Joe Mixon for basically nothing. I mean,
And then extend
just
him.
yeah, and then yeah, exactly. It's like all of a sudden the Texans are fighting with anybody in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, the Dalton Schultz resign was awesome. Obviously, love the Daniil Hunter. I mean, like it was such a low risk signing. It's only 2 years. It's only 2 years.
Yeah,
Like,
how was nobody willing to push him to like 50 mil? I don't know.
Danico Autry, I think was a good signing. I think the biggest thing is they went and got their edge and then they loaded up in the cornerback room. That was my concern. And now in the draft, I mean, yes, I would really want them to go get another corner maybe in the second, but now they have 2 second-round picks. And like my thing is you can address corner, you can go still probably get maybe like a nah, you're not gonna be able to get chopped, but you can still get a good player. And I don't know, man. I don't like the trade out of the first, but at the end of the day, the Texans further solidified like probably the AFC South winners for the next couple years. I don't see the Jaguars really beating them.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the Texans talk about a quick turnaround, man.
A for the Houston Texans. We're going to move on to the Indianapolis Colts, who we have a B minus. Now, lost Gardner Minshew, replaced him with Joe Flacco. I really like that. I think Joe Flacco is a great backup and still can play ball. We saw what he did with the Browns last year, took him to the playoffs, and very, very impressive. I like the Colts are a team that are going to re-sign their own guys. And I really liked what they did, re-signing Michael Pittman after tagging him. You extend him. I really like Grover Stewart, Zaire Franklin, Kenny Moore. I liked everybody they re-signed. I don't have an issue with any of that. I don't know outside of that. Obviously, we still have the draft to go, and they can add talent there. I'm very interested to see what they do at 15, whether they go corner or receiver or maybe even IDL. Um, but I just feel like maybe adding like a guy like a Curtis Samuel could have been beneficial to the receiver room, unless they plan to add a pass catcher, maybe Brock Bowers. They are the draft Kings favorites right now to land Brock Bowers. So I don't know. I don't hate what they did. I just feel like they could have maybe done a little more. I don't know. Their offseason is kind of weird to me so far.
Yeah, that's
Also
the
I want
like
to say this. I heard they are the favorites to land L'Jarius Sneed, and I heard he is probably going to be a Colt soon. We're just working out the extension right now.
interesting. See,
Yeah.
that's a major W. Major W over there in
Little
Indianapolis.
insider on Twitter. I don't know if it's true or not, but the guy that said it has been on about other stuff. So I don't know.
I'm with you though. I think it's very likely we could still see the Colts go on that interior D line first round. But then after you take right with like the Raekwon Davis signing on top of re-signing Grover Stewart, I don't know. Maybe they're comfortable there now. I still feel like they're going to take a starter or to try to take a long-term starter with that first rounder. But I don't know, bro. Like to be honest, I'm with you. Like the Colts, it's like these were good moves, but you still don't feel super confident in like the long-term future of this team as of right now. It's like we're starting to take steps in the right direction, but it's like I don't know, nothing that moves the needle crazy in this year's free agency class.
I'm thinking maybe what they want to do is see like a really good year out of Anthony Richardson and then spend, kind of like what the Texans did with Stroud.
No, that
Um,
definitely makes sense too. You don't want to spend false money exactly around a guy that's not going to get you anywhere.
B minus for the Indianapolis Colts. Jacksonville Jaguars with a C. Dobbs. What the hell are the Jacksonville Jaguars doing?
Bro, well, that's the problem. Like, what the hell are the Jacksonville Jaguars doing? That's the question I want to ask
I
the audience.
honestly think
Leave a comment if you have any clue what the Jaguars are doing, because
how many bottles of Tito's does Trent Baalke drink a day? Because sometimes it's just like, bro, what the hell are you doing?
no, not the Trent Baalke getting the alcoholic label because of these decisions. Trent, but this jokes aside, bro. Jokes aside, let's review. Okay, Mac Jones is the backup. Cool.
I
What
don't
does that
mind
do
that
for us
trade.
long? But it's like, what does that do for us long term?
I know.
Ah. Unless that Trevor Lawrence gets injured and we're in the fucking Super Bowl or the AFC Championship, it doesn't really move any needles. Um, Gabe Davis. You know how I feel about Gabe Davis. I'm gonna just spare him today. I'm gonna just spare him, guys. Uh, I do. I'm getting so hyped. I'm moving my mic over here. I like the Devin Duvernay signing. I'll give it credit where it's due. I like the Devin Duvernay signing. Ezra Cleveland kind of been underperforming ever since they got him from the Vikings, and it's like you paid him pretty good money. Mitch Morse, all right, we'll take that one. Josh Allen on the franchise tag. If you can re-sign him, we'll take
Bro,
it. But if
but
not,
here's the thing. This is my issue with the Josh Allen thing. You screwed up that negotiation. You saw what Brian Burns just signed for. If Josh Allen has another good year, you're paying him out the ass. This negotiation should have been done. It should have been done. What are you doing? What are you doing? It doesn't make
after,
any sense.
and then after they just gave, I'm not going to call him washed, but I'm going to call him the getting older version. The getting older version of Eric Armstead, 51 million.
Also,
I'm not,
it's just like the also the $30 million deal for Darnell Savage. It's like he's not
oh,
bad, but it's like, what are you doing?
no, how did I forget, bro? That was actually going to be the finale of my rant. You took literally, oh, I'm not kidding, Jags fans, you go look it up. You took literally one of the bottom three graded safeties over the last year, and you paid him 10 million a season. Why? That's like taking the worst employee somewhere and giving him a raise.
Now,
Why?
I understand that you offered Calvin Ridley 22 a year and he took 23 with the Titans. I guess my thing is a division rival, by the way. You Who is your alpha number one receiver? Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, like they're all okay, but you know who I trust the most in that offense? Evan Ingram. I love Evan Ingram in that offense. But it's just like Gabe Davis for 13 mil a year. I know it's a steal, but I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. I'm sure players love signing with Jaguars because they know they're going to get overpaid and there's no state income tax. Like the Jaguars, bro, we have this conversation all the time. It is so frustrating because it's like, bro, I don't understand the direction of this team. It just feels like they sign players, let them go, do whatever they want. It doesn't feel like there's any plan ever.
No, that's exactly why we have to come in and be the voice of reason at this point. Like they are literally just spending, hoping for a miracle. I don't understand what's going on here. Can
So
Jags fans help us out? Seriously.
yeah, I think they're in turmoil. C for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have the Tennessee Titans up here with a C minus. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Where do we start with the Titans, bro? Like,
Tony Pollard for the same price as DeAndre Swift. Hate it. Hate it. People were giving so much shit to the Bears for that deal. And then I saw the Saquon deal and the Josh Jacobs deal and then the Pollard deal. And I was like, good deal, Poles.
wait,
That was good value.
as it turns out, bro, random side note, but like as it turns out, Tony Pollard and I'm blanking. Who were we just saying? We were just saying the Bears, the Bears backup. Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
Khalil Herbert and Tony Pollard shaking hands meme.
Say
Electric
better
when
as
they're
the
the
number
number
two back.
two.
Yep.
Yeah, just better as the
Well,
number
also
two.
the difference between Swift and Pollard is Pollard, I feel like, has already played his best football.
Unfortunately, yes. And the Cowboys did not realize that he was playing his best football until it was far too late. Like it's
It's just
actually a
like
crazy
I,
scenario.
the only reason I can justify this signing is because Tony Pollard is one of the best pass blocking backs in the league. So maybe if you want to protect Will Levis, but for 8 mil a year, I don't know. I don't like that at all. And it's like there's no like I don't there's no electricity in that backfield. Like you have Tajay Spears. Yeah, I like Tajay Spears, but I would have
Well,
rather
that's what no,
just
that's
drafted
what
a
makes
pass
this signing
blocking
so
back.
terrible, bro. That's what
So
makes this
weird.
so terrible. Is I genuinely believe Tajay Spears could have been a top 10 back next year. Now you hinder his development, give up way more like it's just terrible. It's just terrible. Like I don't
Also,
like and Tajay Spears, bro, Tajay Spears was a great pass blocker already. Like I'm pretty sure he was top 3 last year. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
then
know.
you have I think Mason Rudolph is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. So to back up
This
Will
is
Levis is
hilarious.
just incredible. Like watching Mason Rudolph throw the ball actually hurts my eyes. And then we have Calvin Ridley for 23 a year.
Dude, no,
Bro,
this is where it gets
Calvin
ugly,
Ridley
bro.
is not like an alpha wide receiver one, guys. Like he is a really good receiver, but in crucial moments, I don't know, man. Like, okay, I think he'll be good with D Hop, and Treylon Burks can be good as a wide receiver three because he hasn't been a guy. And he got Chick. And
He's the real winner. He's the
I,
real winner.
I know it's all about helping your young quarterback. I would have rather traded draft capital than signed Calvin Ridley for 4 years at $23 million a year.
Bro, at the age he's at, and on top of the fact
I
that,
would have
look at
rather
what
given a second round pick for T. Higgins.
any day. Bro, I can think of situations that are like far egregious to that. Like that's not even bad. But like
Is
this
but
is
is
where it
this
really
even the
kills me
worst
too.
signing? Why did
Probably
Kenneth
not.
Murray get $9 million a year?
No,
What are we
no,
doing? What
Titans
are we
fans.
doing?
Titans fans,
Kenneth
bro.
Murray may be one of the worst linebackers in the league.
No, okay. So we were just talking about how, and because I'm a man who corrects myself. We were just talking about grades. Okay, this is the thing. I said Darnell Savage was one of the bottom three. I was actually wrong. I was mistaking for someone else, but Darnell Savage is graded in the bottom 70 or in the bottom 25% of safeties. However, fifth with Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray is genuinely in the bottom 10% of graded linebackers. Like you are genuinely getting a bottom 1/10, and you know
For
me and Hunter do not
nine
like to
mil a
like
year.
wait, we
Nine
do not want
mil.
like me and Hunter do not like to sit here and like rail on dudes. I know these dudes are all professional. They all have premier skill sets. They're all pros for a reason. But Kenneth Murray is not worth 9 million a season. It's
And here's
terrible
my thing.
spending.
When we say this, we're not saying, oh, bro, why is I can't believe he's making that money. He shouldn't make that money. Bro, get paid. If the team's
Right?
willing to
No,
pay
yeah,
you
get
that,
paid. Like,
get paid. But from a team building GM perspective, what are you, bro? The Titans are in a rebuild. Why are we spending all this money? That's why, bro. That's
but
why
when
I got
Cushionberry back was also a fucking baggy too. While we're on it, like that's
I
a
don't
what's a baggy.
I understand Cushionberry was gonna get paid. If I'm the Titans, I don't know if I'm the guy to do it. I understand because he only had one good year. He was kind of mid before
That's
last year,
that's why I'm like,
bro.
whoa, everyone's trying to gas this like,
Also,
oh my.
Calvin Ridley's going to be 30, just coming off his rookie contract and give him a bag. So here's my thing. I made a the Titans fans were ripping me apart when I said Brian Callahan was one of the weirdest head coach signings of the offseason. Bro, I know why they parted ways with Vrabel was because his vision and the GM's vision didn't line up. And I was like, okay, I get that. I understand Vrabel wants to win now when this team needs to rebuild. But in my opinion, I'm more siding with Vrabel now because I don't see this vision at all. I don't see the
Bro,
vision.
no, not at all. And I just want to pull the stat up right here because I don't want to be mistaken on it. Like, there's what see this website is hold on. Let me get it right here. Okay, so and that's the thing too. Guess how many drops Calvin Ridley had last year? Recorded this thing
I
fully
don't
on
know,
him.
a lot.
But bro, I think it's more than this. I don't think this number is accurate. It says here six. I think I can recall more than six last year. But all I'm gonna say is this: Calvin Ridley is not sure-handed anymore. Calvin Ridley's hands are not what they used to be. Like when you watch Calvin now, it's kind of like, oh man, I hope he doesn't butterfinger that thing. I hope he doesn't butterfinger that dot that Trevor Lawrence just laid out in his lap. Or now it's going to be Will Levis. Like I don't know, bro. I just the direction of this team is really really shaky.
All right, C minus for the Tennessee Titans. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons with a B plus. Dobbs, how you feel about the Falcons, your division rival?
Yeah, how do I feel about the Falcons, man? Falcons fans, I got to give you guys a shout out, man. It looks like you guys just might be back. Are the Falcons back, bro?
I
Like
think
it's
the
been a little
Falcons
bit of a
may be
while.
back.
I think it's been a while since they can say that, but
You know, I know
I
would be the
think
most Falcons thing ever. Go really far and choke it away.
see this is the thing though. I'm going to say this because most Saints fans they couldn't even utter these words because they hate the team so much. Me, you know me, bro. I'm an objective man. I never let my hate or my my disdain get in the way of the truth. The truth is the Falcons should win the NFC South next year. Like the Falcons very well should win the NFC South next year.
And if they
The
don't,
dominoes. That's the thing is if they don't, bro, Arthur Blank, a lot of questions on your table. There's and then like just with the Kirk Cousins signing, a lot of questions are on the table. Like we're headed down a direction where quickly, I think Falcons fans are going to start saying, "Yo, Arthur," and not Arthur Smith anymore. It's a different Arthur. It's gonna have to start answering some more questions. But that's the thing is, I don't want to play hypotheticals because not yet because this situation is just so. I'm not saying foolproof, but so stoutly built with the way the O line is assembled. You have just a really rock solid receiving core. Kyle fucking Pitts, like Kirk Cousins is gonna turn Kyle Pitts back to 1,000+ yard tight end.
I think
That's actually my bold take of the entire show.
so. I love what they did with the wide receiver room. Rondale Moore, Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. Like they got some
Even
weapons in
Ray Ray
there.
McLeod is your punt returner now.
Not bad.
I know the Super Bowl moment. Okay, we're gonna forget about that. Ray McLeod is a productive special teamer. Like
I think this took them out of the running for a wide receiver at 8 though. And the reason we didn't have them higher than a B plus was because if they would have been able to land like a Daniil Hunter or an edge, I feel like they would have won
bruh.
the offseason.
Oh, they would have been A+.
But it looks like that's what they're gonna do in the draft now at 8.
Dallas
Uh,
Turner, you're a Falcon.
he's a Falcon. So
Dallas
B
Turner's a
plus
Falcon.
for the Atlanta Falcons. Moving on to the Carolina Panthers, we have them with a B plus as well. So here's my thing. I think you overpaid both the guards, but it's okay. If you're protecting Bryce Young and you're giving him a chance to develop, I think it's okay to overpay. I don't okay. I'm okay with the Deontay Johnson trade strictly because they really didn't give up anything. I don't like Deontay Johnson as like a number one receiver for them though. Obviously, I think what's going to happen is they have Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson, and they're probably going to draft a guy at 33, which is fine. Not a fan of the DJ Wanham signing. A Sean Robinson, okay, decent, not bad. Um, Jordan Thor, not a bad safety. I like what they did. The reason they get a B plus is because they gave Bryce Young a chance. That is strictly because if they don't give Bryce Young a chance, nothing matters. They gave Bryce Young a chance with this offseason.
No, I mean like and the Panthers and the Rams like have had they had a very similar like how they approached it. But like when you're giving your quarterback just two absolute anchors on the interior, like you said, I'm gonna let you overpay on that. It's very hard to find that position, and if you have you're confident you have two of these guys, I'm gonna let you do it. And then also what I want to say just on the Deontay Johnson thing, like we always say about Adam Thielen, why I also love it too is because it's like that Thielen connection doesn't really mean that much. Like it's like, yeah, Bryce and him have a good connection, but is Thielen going to be there when it really matters? No.
No.
So it's like you need to get another guy in the building immediately that's going to be able to replicate that same connection that's young. And that's basically what you're getting in Deontay. Yeah, we want to see Deontay still become more sure-handed, but the issue is not what it was a few years ago. And at the end of the day, he's definitely going to be a productive target for Bryce over here.
My only worry is his kind of attitude issues, but we'll see what happens with that. So then we had a B plus for the Panthers. Moving into the New Orleans Saints, we have a C plus. Really, their only additions are Cedric Wilson and Willie Gay. They re-signed Demario Davis and Tyron Smith. So cap issues as usual with the Saints. I don't really know what else they could have done. So it's like I can't give them a lower grade. I like the Willie Gay signing. So Dobbs.
That's all there is to it, bro. Like the Saints are still just in that mid tier, and like I'm very happy getting Tyron back, one of the absolute just captains of the team. Even though I know like, but he's like one of those guys that just rooted the identity of the team. And then Demario Davis, actual captain. We needed Demario back, man. I'm telling you, if the Saints lost Demario Davis, you guys might not see me on this show. I might just be just sitting in the corner crying. So we needed to get Demario back. I'm gonna be honest. I actually love Willie Gay a lot. I do like Willie Gay as a signing. I think obviously we're concerned about his injuries and stuff. If he can just stay healthy, I do believe he can actually be a very productive part of this defense. But then minus that, it's like nothing the Saints did move the needle. But then to the point of like, well, we really couldn't move the needle. We're in the same position we're going to be in until the Carr contract is up. It is what it is. The Saints should kind of just have to build around Carr, and that's what they forced their own hand into. So that's what we're witnessing unfold now.
C plus for the New Orleans Saints. Moving into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we have them with a B. I think honestly, they brought back who they needed to bring back. Baker Mayfield on a very, very reasonable deal. And
Such a dub.
bro. We're starting to see like these mid-tier quarterback contracts that don't handicap these teams.
Wait, so you're telling me you're telling me we were spot on, bro. You're telling me what we said like 2 years ago. We were spot on.
Yep, we were. We were ahead of the curve. Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield contracts are very doable and reasonable for these teams. And if you are not in that level, and you are making, if you are in that level and you're making more than that, you are killing your team's chance at
Daniel
succeeding.
Jones fucked the QB market. Every QB go punch Daniel Jones. He's the one that ruined it for you.
They re-signed Levante David. They brought back Jordan Whitehead. They re-signed or Anton Winfield got the franchise tag, re-signed Mike Evans. I mean, the Bucks did basically what the Colts do. They bring back all their own guys and kind of go from there. And I think they did it on reasonable deals. They didn't overpay for anybody. So that's why we have the B for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dobbs, any thoughts?
Not anything besides everything we just said. And I also just want to include like because I said the Falcons, they very well should win the South. I'll say this: if the Falcons don't win the South, it very well is going to be the Bucks. I do believe. I think this year's the year where like the Falcons and the Bucks are going to be fighting head to head. If the Saints somehow surprise me, I'll be fucking cheesing. I don't expect that. I do think it's either got to be the Bucks or the Falcons this year with how they rebuild, right?
All right, we are moving into the AFC West. We have the Denver Broncos with a C minus. The only really additions they have is they signed Brandon Jones to a 3-year deal, Malcolm Roach to a 2-year deal, but they re-signed Michael Burton, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Will Lutz, who was originally going to Jacksonville but came back.
He
Um,
realized what the Jags were cooking and he said, "Forget about it."
yeah, no, fucking, that's weird. Anyway, it was so funny. I was like, it's such a Jags thing to have happened to them. I don't know. I mean, with the Russ shit, it's kind of hard for them to do anything. They got rid of Jordan or Jerry Judy. They brought back Tim Patrick, I think. I don't know. This is or restructured them, I believe.
Please
Very
let Tim Patrick stay healthy for once. Football
yeah.
gods, Tim Patrick, let him stay healthy.
I don't know if there's much to say about the Broncos. They're just kind of in a rebuild. I don't think they're going to be in position to get one of the top 4 quarterbacks either. So Bo Nick's season, maybe.
I was just saying on the last mock, bro. I really think the way things are trending. I'm just gonna. I don't even have any comments on like the free agency because everything you said is exactly how I feel. Like they just, what were they really gonna do? We didn't expect this much. But I'm gonna say this, bro. Bo Nix, I think he really might just be a Bronco.
I think he'll be actually really good for Sean Payton's system.
I think the Sean Payton's fit would actually be really nice.
Kansas City Chiefs, we have an A. Dude, how are you feeling about Hollywood Brown to the Kansas City Chiefs?
Bro, I'll tell you this. This was the one spot, like at this point, basically, like the one spot that I saw like a ton of upside for him. Sure enough, Brett Veach said, "Oh yeah, we can make that work." Like the Chiefs at this point, bro. Like we were saying too before the show started, like you can see the teams that are really always looking. They're just not content. Even I'll give you a little sleeper move where nobody has even talked about this one, right? Because everyone already knows all these other moves the Chiefs have made. How about we'll talk about like a little bit of a sleeper move where it speaks to me just like how the Chiefs are just never ready to sit down. They're like, fuck it, we can always get better. Right? Because you just had how am I blanking on the man's name? How am I blanking? Hold on a minute here. Hold on. I can't be doing like this. All right. Tommy Townsend. So
Oh yeah,
Tommy
yeah.
Townsend, who's just an all pro last year,
I figured it was
right?
about the punter. Yeah.
And they said, like, dude, hey man, you want a little bit more money that we're comfortable with. That's fine. You can go get that elsewhere. We are gonna bring back Hunt God off of the charges, like on a league minimum. Like the Chiefs just always find a way. It's just like like you gotta appreciate it, man. Like if you're a Chiefs fan, just sign a letter for Brett Veach, send it to him through the mail, tell him thank you. Because it's like the Chiefs, man, they are just not ready to lie down and be happy with the success that they've already had. They said, I want next year. I'm not thinking about the past.
I love the Hollywood Brown signing. I love it. I think he's going to be so good in Kansas City. Pair him with Rashee Rice, Travis Kelsey. Maybe you draft a receiver. I'm kind of more leaning they take a tackle in the first round. But then obviously you could add Xavier Worthy. You could add AD Mitchell. You can add Brian Thomas Jr. possibly if you want to move up a little. Like there's so many options for them. I think they go tackle, but re-signing Chris Jones was so critical. And I think they'll probably three-peat next year.
Oh, that was
It's
the biggest.
just,
That
yeah.
was the biggest one. We had to save the best for last, but like Chris Jones going to retire a Chief, going to retire one of the greatest defensive players of our entire generation, and he deserves it, man. Like shouts to Chris Jones.
Franchise tag L'Jarius Sneed. Could get some draft capital for him. If not, run it back one more year, win a third in a row. So we had an A for the Kansas City Chiefs. Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders, we had a B minus. So here's kind of my issue with the Raiders is I really like, Wilkins, Max Crosby, Tyler Wilson, Coons. Okay, really good D line. you have so much money tied up in that D line and Devontae Adams. It's almost like I don't know. Also, I don't think they're going to be getting any of the top four quarterbacks. I think this is a very likely team for Michael Penix Jr. Obviously, they signed Gardner Minshew, but they just kind of scream Michael Penix Jr. to me. You know, you re-sign Andre James, yeah. I think Gardner Minshew can be a starter for you, but I don't know. B minus just feels right because the Christian Wilkins move just has so much room to like tank the team.
See that, yeah, bro, that's all it is. It's literally that's like I think why the B minus is perfect. It's like this could boom the team, this could bust the team. Only time's gonna tell. I do like the Andre James and then the Gardner Minshew signings, but it's like, yeah, other than that, it's just we're banking on Christian Wilkins and we're not gonna have answers. We're gonna have answers later than sooner.
Yep. Um, B minus for the Raiders. Moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers, we have a B. Dobbs, why do we have a B for them?
So for them, really, it was kind of like, again, Chargers not really doing much, not really doing much. The main thing that really pushed them for me is it's like, because we need to, the Chargers are in that cap hell situation, can't really do much. But you know what? You re-signed Alohi Gilman, who's still one of those guys, like we say, very slept on by the masses. Like, if you don't know Alohi Gilman, like I was saying before about someone else, I forget who already was, but you got to get in tune. Alohi Gilman, one of the best safeties in the league, most slept on players, get with the tune. And if where you got him back on this, that was enough to push it up where you didn't have any money to spend. I'll push you from a B minus up to a B.
Yeah, it's just kind of like what were they supposed to do? They restructured Mac, they restructured Bosa, traded Keenan Allen, got some capital, released Mike Williams. This is a first year GM with the team and Jim Harbaugh kind of making their stake. It's a completely new rebuild. So, you know, I really like Gus Edwards there going from John to Jim, but not much to say about the Chargers other than we will see maybe in a year how well this rebuild goes. So
Yeah, absolutely.
B for the Los Angeles Chargers. Moving into our last division, we have the NFC West, and we have a B plus for the Arizona Cardinals. Dobbs, how are you feeling about the Arizona Cardinals?
I think, as we said, bro, we agree that the Cardinals, they went in on the trenches. They said we need trench depth. We need starters on the trenches. That's exactly what they did, combination of. I also really like the Mac Wilson signing low key. I think he could provide a lot of value for them on that deal. I think the one I really didn't like, and I think you'll agree, is the Desmond Ritter trade to me just very poor. A lot of people were trying to spin it like it was like a really good trade and very even like I just man, it's just a Saints fan in me, but I'm telling you guys, like, I don't Desmond Ritter, I get it. I guess as a backup though, maybe because I'm still viewing him as a starter. Desmond Ritter as a backup, I guess that is good value. Maybe I'm changing my tune a little bit live. Yeah, all in all, the Cardinals went trenches and all in basically on the trenches, and I do appreciate that. And a little bit of a like maybe a sleeper signing with Jonah Williams. You know what I mean? Like if Jonah Williams comes back and he's healthy, all of a sudden, like you don't need as much whole line as you needed before.
Save some money with getting rid of DJ Humphreys and you get Jonah Williams. I don't mind the Desmond Ritter trade. I think the issue is, I mean, we know they're going Marvin Harrison Jr. It's pretty locked, but that wide receiver room is decimated. I don't know who they're going to be throwing to besides Trey McBride and Greg Dortch. You got Chris Moore, obviously. I like the Bilal Nichols trade or signing, and I like the Sean Murphy Bunting signing. Sorry, guys, we've been talking for like 2 hours. I'm running over my words. The move I hate is the Justin Jones for 10 mil a year. As a Bears fan, Justin Jones is not worth nearly that much.
Yeah, he's a good player. Like again, he's definitely a really good depth player. But for 10 million a season, I just
Yeah,
don't really
no.
understand that vision.
So we got B plus for the Arizona Cardinals. We have an A for the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams brought in a solid backup in Jimmy G. They
I would say
re
more than solid if we're talking backup. I mean, if we're talking
That's fair.
backup and
Probably
Jimmy
one of
G's
the
your
best.
backup, dub, like dub.
Probably one of the best backups in the league. Love the Cam Curl signing. Love that you have two really good guards in Kevin Dotson and Jonah Jackson. Avila can move to center now. You
Dude, they
have
fucking cooked.
they cook. Darius Williams, 3 year, 22.5 million. Bro, like the Rams had a great offseason and they have a ton of draft picks.
Yeah, like and Cam Curl on top of things, like Cam Curl's literally like what this is a funny trend we've had today. Like some of all of the best safeties in the league just getting picked for peanuts because the safety market is dying. And then you had teams like the Rams, like, wait a minute, swear Cam Curl's going for 6.5 million a year.
Darnell
Bring him
Savage,
over.
10 million a
Bring
year.
him over. Right. Like what that's what I'm saying. Like, what are we doing?
Good year for the Rams upcoming, I think. If Stafford can stay healthy, I think they're going to be a really scary team in the NFC. Moving on to the San Francisco 49ers, we also had an A. Dobbs, why do we give them an A?
Again, just like the Rams, like they went and they killed everything they needed to kill. I mean, right? I think I'm going to start with the move they just made today. Isaac Yiadom. If you guys don't know about Isaac Yiadom, because he is one of those guys that never gets the attention he needed. When he filled in last year for Marshawn Lattimore, dude was locking down. I mean, this dude was locking down, man coverage specialist, still good in zone. But Isaac Yiadom, just a sticky, sticky corner. I think he's going to be starting on this 49ers unit, and you guys are going to love him. I'm telling you guys right now. Devondre Campbell, I mean, on a 1 year deal, money. Just a fantastic move. Getting great depth right here. Kevin Givens, Jordan Elliott, Malik Collins, Gross Matos. I said I didn't like it the day it happened, but I thought about it more. Him coming to this Niners defense might just be exactly the scheme he needs. He could come in here, 6, 7 sacks season, fair amount of pressures, make himself some money on this, after these 2 years are up. And then Leonard Floyd also. I love Leonard Floyd on this D line, bro. And then you re-sign Colton McKivitz and then John Feliciano, and then you got yourself a fair backup in Brandon Allen. You got to say this was a great free agency class for the Niners.
I really like the Leonard Floyd signing. Malik Collins, I really like that signing as well. Devondre Campbell. And Colton McKivitz, I know he's not going to be your long-term guy, but even if you draft a guy, develop him, he can play under him for 1 year, and then you have your answer at right tackle. I know you're probably going to want to upgrade in the draft, this, that, and the third, but
Or
if you
you
get a
just keep
guy,
Kivitz as the backup for this year, like however you
right.
want to play it.
Well, if you get like a guy like at the end of the first, like a Marius Mims or Tyler Guyton, he can just sit. And then Trent Williams is going to be retiring probably in the next couple years. So overall, the 49ers continue to retool and, never have to really rebuild because they always just add always to their offensive and defensive line. So A for the San Francisco 49ers. Our last team, we have the Seattle Seahawks with a B minus. Dobbs, how you feeling on the Seahawks?
So, like this, like you were saying about Seahawks before we started recording, it's like nothing needle moving, but there's some good moves, right? Like I like the Sam Howell move a lot. For if it was anybody but the Seahawks, I don't know how I'd feel about it, but I love him to the Seahawks. Definitely a fantastic landing spot at the Seahawks. I do love the Noah Fant re-sign. Getting George Fant also definitely a position you guys needed for depth. You definitely love bringing George Fant over. Nick Harris for depth also. The Leonard Williams deal, I don't know. I feel like they might have dropped a little bit more than they should have on that. That's
I
definitely
think they
something
did it because they paid a two and a five for
that's
him,
definitely why. That's the thing is they
which is
had
the
to.
same they paid for Brian Burns.
But that's the thing is they had to do it, but then you look at the value all around and you're like, I don't know if this was the best case scenario for the Seahawks. And then, yeah, just good depth though with Rayshon Jenkins, already Burns on the re-sign. But it's just like nothing that moves the needle for the Seahawks.
They just let so many people walk. I will say my favorite move is the Sam Howell move. I'm not totally out on the fact that Sam Howell can't be a starting quarterback in the league and maybe even a top 18 guy. I
Dude,
mean,
he's Geno 2.0 to
he's
damn
got
near at
so
this
much
point.
he's got so much arm talent. Like he led the league in rush or passing yards for a decent amount last year. Like he can throw the ball. It's his mistakes. If he can correct his mistakes, he can be a good quarterback, similar to like a Jameis. And I don't know. The Seahawks, I don't know how good they're gonna be next year because they just let a lot of people walk. But overall, man, like not a horrible offseason. It's almost like kind of like with John Schneider or not John Schneider. Is it John Schneider?
Yeah, I do.
John Schneider. I
I'll
was
say,
mixing up with John Lynch.
yeah, John
Same division.
Schneider.
John Schneider kind of is really his first year as the only GM. I know Pete Carroll had a lot of say, and then Mike McDonald, the new head coach, kind of maybe letting the team reset a little bit. So, um, you know, Leonard Williams, like I said, a little bit overpay, but overall B minus for the Seattle Seahawks. Any final thoughts, Dobbs, on this offseason? I feel like it's truly been one of the craziest off seasons already, and it's just started.
Yeah, I was just say final thoughts, bro. I have not said what the fuck in all caps more times ever in an off season than I have this off season in our group chats, and we're only like, yeah, like we're saying, we're only like a third of the way through it.
I think the biggest thing too, bro, is I think teams are realizing, maybe just because we've done things slowly in the past doesn't mean we have to do that anymore. I think the way the Rams started handling their team has really spoken to a lot of franchises like, you know what? If we want a guy, let's go get him. Let's go
No,
make
yeah,
this move. Because if we sit in purgatory and try to hope that our mid teams become good, you're just waiting to find out longer and longer. If you want to know, let's find out soon. And I think that's
no,
kind of the MO for a lot of teams now.
you're spitting on that one. That's definitely the trend that we're moving towards.
So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been grading every single NFL's team offseason so far. Let us know in the comments your favorite and least favorite move in this offseason. Leave a like growing this channel every day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your night.